You're here and I'm queer and welcome back to my channel. Today I present you a two-part video, a double feature if you will, so make sure you watch part 2 after this one. It'll be linked after this, it'll be linked down below, it's going to be linked. For this video, I will be making Jinu from the Saja Boys and Kpop Demon Hunters. I know we are all hooked and obsessed. Lots of funny moments, great animation, amazing character designs, and catchy music. I mean, I've had their soundtrack on constant repeat, and I cannot get it out of my head. My little soda pop. Initially, I wanted to make one of the Huntrix, of course, but I thought Jinu looked really good as a character. I do want to shout out the original Demon Hunters though, because oh my god, their designs... It ate. I wanted to make Jinu in his demon form, specifically in the Your Idol segment, as I think he has such a strong character design. Although I do think Abby gave more charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Overall, a little bit more of a oomph, you know what I mean? I love how they styled the traditional Korean clothing for the Saja Boys and made it concert ready. It was like the demon world and the human world colliding together for the Saja Boys. It is quite difficult to make out all of the details, so I was pausing it frame by frame. But I think the hat, the robe, their lilac skin, the golden eyes really gave a strong overall silhouette that I think would translate well into a doll. That being said, let's get started before the honeymoon completely disappears. For Jinu, we will be using this male integrity doll body. I don't recall who it is specifically, but I really love using integrity doll bodies, especially for male characters, just because their overall physique is a little bit better than a regular Ken doll. Overall for Jinu, we will be doing a lot of replacement modifications in a way, so we're not completely modifying the body, but we are replacing some parts. And let's go ahead and start with his head. There was a lot of 3D printing going on for Jinu, and I was not prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally. There's lots of artists that helped me with this project, and for the custom Jinu face, I want to say a huge thank you to Gothic Zombie for sculpting it. He definitely captured Jinu's face oh so perfectly. I really want this to be as accurate or as close to accurate as much as possible for the animation. Here are all of the heads for Jinu. As you can see, there is multiple sizes in here because these were actually the first batch, and I was trying out different sizes that will complement the integrity body. Overall, I think I went with a similar scale of head, not too big, not too small. I thought I wanted to go bigger overall so that he can have a more anime look, but honestly, the similar head size worked really well. Now, because this is technically not a BJD doll, we can't really string the head onto the doll body, so Gothic Zombie kind of made this blithe style of mechanism in order to put his head together. So his head is kind of split in the middle to the side, and then you kind of combine it together. There is a little bit of restriction when it comes to posability and rotation, but overall, I think it works really well. And honestly, it's all about the visual and aesthetics for me. It is very fragile, of course, when you are posing it because it is made out of resin. Resin usually is pretty fragile when it comes to doll pieces, but honestly, it works for me and I was able to secure it. So yeah, I think it works. And here is a comparison with the original head versus the new Jinu head. As you can see, I really wanted to have the animated look, the 3D anime look from Kpop Demon Hunters, and I think Gothic Zombie nailed it with this Jinu doll head. For Jinu's demon hands, I want to say a huge thank you to Halo Monster Kid and Daiki Art. Diane really nailed it with sculpting the demon hands. They look so amazing, and Halo Monster Kid perfected the mechanism to fit an integrity doll. I am super obsessed with these demon hands. Again, I printed multiple of them, different sizes, just to see what's going to work out best. And honestly, I also print a lot of hands because I often break them. But Halo Monster Kit and Daiki Arts did such an amazing job with the sculpting and posing. The mechanism is absolutely amazing, and it is so perfect for an integrity doll. I have broken one already, so I'm like extra careful with handling this. I think for the overall scaling, we definitely went with a similar scale from the integrity hands. Obviously, the fingers are just very long and demon-like, but I think overall scale-wise, it's still kind of the same. Now it's time to sand everything. Just to add a little bit of grittiness to everything, I went with a higher grit for the most part. I think I kept with like 800 and up, or even maybe higher. You know, I just wanted to add a little bit of grittiness to it. We're not completely like changing anything. We're just adding some texture for our pigments to hold a little bit better.
They asked you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I absolutely cannot believe that I broke his ankle joints. I'm very, very upset that House done boost. I thought Integrity dolls would be stronger in terms of like jointing. They use a very hard vinyl, which is probably more brittle than your typical Barbie or Ken dolls. I'm freaking out. Trying to remain calm, but freaking out deep inside. Because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to remove the peg from his ankle, but luckily I was able to manage. Well, now that's broken, we need to have a plan B for his feet and also his shoes, because gluing it together isn't going to be super ideal as it can easily snap again. I initially thought of having his shoes 3D sculpted and hope that it would fit the Integrity feet. But now I was like, why not just have his feet and his shoes be sculpted all in one? So I had asked Halo Monster Kid to do her big one and emergency sculpt this entire thing. Halo Monster Kid definitely saved the day last minute with these shoes. And honestly, I feel like breaking the ankle was a blessing, actually, because this looks super, super good. I can't even fathom. I was already kind of dreading trying to make this manually, like sculpting it, because I knew that it wasn't going to be symmetrical. I'm not personally super strict with symmetry. I just know that it's not going to be like even close to it. And that was kind of stressful for me. So this one is like, it's so much better. We'll go back to his shoes in a bit, but for now, let's work on his wig. I have shown this process multiple times now with most of my videos, but if you're new here, then this is how I personally make my wigs, my doll wigs, using acrylic yarn. I just make sure to brush out the yarn as much as I can, and I try to do it carefully to retain the length of the yarn. And I take another pet brush, and this one is metallic this time, to really fine-tune everything. And then I go over it with my straightener. And this is the before and after of the yarn. As you can see, it just looks so satisfying. It's very silky, and I just make so many wefts because it's better to have extras than to not have enough. Now let's go ahead and put his wig cap on. And now let's start by gluing the wefts one by one. And I always start from the bottom of the nape of the neck and I work my way up. So it's like layer by layer and layer. And you would think that shorter hairstyles, especially for Jinu, which he kind of has an undercut. Oh my god, right now he kind of is looking like a vampire, maybe like a black-haired Alucard of some sort. I don't know, it kind of looks cool. Now I'm cutting the underside of his hair, and I just divided it in half to make sure that I don't get any of the top layers out. And I prefer using a razor for this one, although it is very, very tedious. I feel like it gives me a better overall look so that it's not super blunt, and everything is kind of like razor cut and tapered. Oh my god, he looks like a rooster right now. It's kind of looking crazy. It kind of looks cool. But now let's go ahead and add some curls using my heated metal chopsticks. This one was very, very hard to do because we are working with very, very short hair, and I'm trying not to get burned by the chopstick. You know, the things we do for beauty. Oh my god, right now he is giving F for Dao Mingse, he is giving Ku Junpyo, he is giving Domyoji. Like, it's kind of giving. And now it's time to actually style the hair, so let's go ahead and brush out all the curls. And yes, curling the hair is kind of necessary because you want the yarn to have some sort of waves in order to get this certain like style, because his hair is not like pin straight. There's some sort of curl in there, some sort of wave in there, and so really you're kind of sculpting the hair, which was kind of fun for me, and it was quite a challenge. I do not look forward to doing this because typically it is a very painful, tedious process, but we do what we must. Let's see what we are working with. We got the heads, we got the hands, we got the shoes, and we got the doll's body. I sprayed everything with Mr. Super Clear to prime it all, and now I am just taking my pan pastel in lavender, and we are just putting that all over his skin. And you know, this is the demon form of Jinu, so he needs to be this lilac lavender demon color. Although skin changing with pan pastel is very doable and it does boast great results. It just takes so many layers in order to get to where you want in terms of pigment, and quite frankly, I don't have a lot of Mr. Super Clear left, so I was like, let's go ahead and just move on with our acrylic paint. The result for this one in terms of coloring the skin is going to be a lot faster, although I am still layering it quite a few times. I think I layered the paint maybe 4 times. It's just a little bit more satisfying and rewarding to do the acrylic paint for this specific doll, especially because it's kind of like a light lavender color, and I really want to make sure that we're building the pigments as fast as we can, as solid as we can. And I think going with the pastel, it's gonna take me like 10 layers, and also it's not gonna feel good to the touch because of all those layers. So sometimes with doll customizing, you really gotta choose your battles, the stress that you want, according to the doll and the character. Oh my god, he looks so good! Ah! He looks super cool, and his skin looks so smooth and satisfying. He looks like porcelain, he looks like stone or something, like he looks so cool. Now let's go ahead and draw on the demon marks. And here is everything completely done, completely covered in paint. Of course, the joints will always be a problem area, so there is really nothing that we can do about it. Even with pastels, those will always chip no matter what because there's friction in there. But honestly, he looks super cool, and I'm just super excited with this. Using my watercolor pencils, I am sketching and mapping out all of his demon marks. And to a point, this one was very fun because you can just kind of be creative and be free with it. Although I did use a lot of reference pictures, especially for his face, because obviously that one, I wanted to be as close to the animation as much as possible. And also for his hands, because there were images of his hands in demon form. So I was like, okay, well, you know, there's some references for these ones. The ones that I kind of free-handed in a way was his body, which I absolutely have no idea why I decided to cover his entire body in the first place with the lilac color, and then now I'm covering the entire thing with the demon marks when none of it is going to be seen at all. Although peek the heart design on his chest though, that one I did, because I thought it would have been kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I was thinking. Clearly, I wasn't really thinking. It was some sort of... I just thought it was satisfying to see if his entire body is fully covered and fully fleshed out, you know? I guess I did it for me and the knowledge that he is demoned up all the way, you know, under his clothes. And now we are completely done with all of his marks. And now we just have to do it all over again in the back. Okay, now we're finally done with the sketches of his demon marks. And yes, they're just sketches because now I am moving on with my acrylic paint and we are fine-tuning all his demon marks. So we're pretty much redoing every single thing that we just did, you know, but now with paint with the correct color. This one wasn't as bad, actually. This one was actually a little bit more satisfying, and I was able to do a little bit more minute details in there. I was able to make things a little bit more sharper, more tapered, which for me was just very fun. I actually mixed 2 different kinds of purple in there. The other one is like with metallic pigments, so it has some sort of glitter, because initially it looked really flat, and I was like, this isn't magical enough. So I thought adding the glitter in there, the metallic pigments, just kind of made it seem like it's more alive, and overall I just liked how it looked. What was your favorite Kpop Demon Hunter song? Name it down below. I feel like my top 3, I like most of them, but honestly, I really love Your Idol. There's just something about it that is super like cool sounding. Of course, I also like This Is What It Sounds Like, and I do like Soda Pop as well, just because I feel like it's such a summer song. It's just kind of stupid and catchy. Oh my god, of course, I also love How It's Done, because it's such a charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent type of energy and vibe. I'm obsessed. Let me know which one's your favorite. The demon markings look super cool, but I do think that it kind of hides the overall sculpt of the actual doll body. You know, we gotta bring in those abs, we gotta bring in those muscles. I used an integrity doll for a reason. So let's go ahead and contour the details, add some shadows, add some body blushing here and there, just to add the dimension back into his body and overall skin. Oh my god, he is looking super cool, he is looking super good. He is giving Abby a run for his money in terms of the abs, the contouring and everything. All of the marks, the shading, the patterns, they all look so satisfying. I'm obsessed. And now it's time to do my favorite part of all, and that is the doll's face up, you know, the visage. And as usual, I sprayed his face with Mr. Super, well, I've been spraying his face with Mr. Super Clear while I'm changing his skin tone, so this is super exciting for me because I've never customized, of course, this specific doll head, but it was so satisfying because the overall eye area is kind of flat, so the possibilities of different eye shapes is truly endless. Of course, they all have the glowing yellow golden eye, so I really wanted to emphasize that. And I think that's why I was really drawn into this overall character design, because of the yellow eyes, the purple skin. Like, the combination is just so striking for me. Jinu's eyebrows are very specific, like the shape of it, so I really wanted to try and capture it as much as I can. I did add a little bit more like hair strokes in there to add a little bit of realism. He didn't really have any visual eye makeup, at least it's kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but I am adding some contouring in his overall face and also his eyes, just to bring in some dimension, because right now everything is kind of looking flat, and adding those artificial shadows for his eye area, his cheekbone area, it would just elevate the entire look. Now let's finish it up with some catch lights for his eyes and also gloss up his lips. Oh my god, he looks super cool. I am super proud of this face up, and oh my god, I'm just super happy with it. And here's some before and after for your nerve. And now it's time to work on his costume. First, let's go ahead and make his traditional Korean hat. Let's go ahead and work on the patterns that we need for the gat or the Korean hat. And I did exaggerate the size of this for the doll just to give him more of the animated look. I think the gats traditionally are made out of horsehair or bamboo. That's why it is very see-through. It is like woven. And I had no idea what material I was going to use in order to translate that into doll form. So shout out to Miss James Mansfield for suggesting this really structured crinoline material. She also gave me some millinery wire because we needed to have some sort of framing for the hat. And the millinery wire is covered with fabric, so it's easy to sew into or glue into. So it was perfect. Watching a lot of historical Korean dramas, I've always loved how this hat looks because it was just so like cool looking. It was so wide, and you know, I love me some really wide hats. I believe it was really popular during the Joseon period, and it was commonly worn by noblemen or, you know, men with status symbols. And, you know, I just thought it was really cool. And I love that they featured that for the Saja boys in their demon forms. Now let's go ahead and work on the decorative beaded string for the hat. I feel like in the movie, the beads were all in black or maybe gray, but these are the specific beads that I had in hand, which I thought actually looked really cool and matches the overall look for Jinu. So I was like, let's just go for it. At least this way, it gives his outfit a little bit more dimension, it gives it a pop of color somehow, even though it's very subtle, and overall it just looks really cool. Let's finish it off with a black ribbon for the cylinder part of his hat. And now we are done with Jinu's hat. For his outfit, I want to say a huge thank you to Kyle2.6 on Instagram. I've asked him to use different textiles as much as possible to give the all-black outfit some dimension and variety. We have three main pieces for Jinu's outfit. The overall fashions that the Saja boys were rocking was definitely a blend of traditional and modern Korean fashions, and it looked really cool and dynamic. The sochanggi, or the robe that they were wearing, was definitely modernized and simplified, along with how they styled it. So Kyle 2.6 really did their big one on these. And now it's time for me to do my big one, so let's go ahead and add the demon patterns for the robe. We're doing the same exact thing that I did for his skin. I'm sketching everything first, and then we're going back at it again with paint. The only thing that was kind of annoying with this is trying to get one side symmetrical on the other, which if you look closely, it's definitely not. But, you know, I tried to do my best. Over here, I'm trying to work simultaneously to sketch out the demon patterns for the back of his robe, which I honestly did not even see in the music video because it was so hard to see anything in the overall lighting. Like, everything was so faint in terms of the overall detail of their outfits. So, like, yeah, it was so hard to make it up. And again, with our acrylic paint, let's go ahead and paint all of these demon patterns. For this one, I actually mixed my acrylic paint with a fabric medium, specifically made for mixing with acrylic paint. So that one was really, really cool. Typically, I use Mod Podge to add flexibility to acrylic paints, but this one, I mean, it was meant for fabric. It was meant to paint on fabric, and it definitely retained the fabric's integrity and flexibility. And similar to what we did for his skin, I'm going over the demon patterns again with another type of acrylic paint that has a shift to it. This is not the same exact one that I used for his skin. This one is a little bit different. It has a shift of gold, green, and purple. And as you can see, this is the before and after. I think it just looks so much better. It gives it more dimension, and it looks more magical. Oh my god, his robe turned out so amazing. It's still super flexible and overall looks really, really cool. Like, I need this in real life, honestly. I need it in the robe version. I need it in a button-up version. I just need it. I need it with the patterns and everything. Now let's go ahead and finish off his robe with these last-minute details. Did you guys have a favorite Saja boy? I mean, they didn't really have any personality. It was definitely just visual. But overall, I think I really liked Jinu and also Abby. The others are just, they're okay. You know, they're okay. Now let's go back to his shoes and it's time to paint it. Let's finally work on his shoes and I am so ready to paint these shoes because I'm so obsessed with them. I'm painting the skin ankle area with matte black acrylic paint just so that it looks like he is wearing black socks. And then for the overall leather shoe, it's going to be a patent leather finish. And of course, yes, let me do my big one. Let's go ahead and give him some red bottoms. I mean, all of my shoes are all over the place. They're like inspired by one brand, but they all have red soles because why not? You know what I mean? It just looks so satisfying and honestly, it fits his demon vibe anyway. Let's not forget to give him some earrings. I think for this specific music video, he only had the left earring, but I gave him the right earring as well because why not? It looks cool. And now let's gather all of Jinu's pieces and see what we have. Very, very, very last minute addition. I have asked Diane to also sculpt his hands into the heart pose. You know what I mean? Because why not? He literally, that was kind of like his introduction is to him doing the... So I thought it would be so perfect for him. Now let's go ahead and dress him up. Let me know if you guys want to see more Kpop Demon Hunter characters. Of course, we gotta do our big one. Please like, comment, and share this video if you want to see more characters. It would really help the channel a lot. And now we're done with Jinu.
Dead to me, RIP buried. Angry mount coming for you, pitchforks ready. Dead to me with no Hail Marys. 이미 뜯겨버린 몸 no casket necessary. 무리들이 몰려온다 사자해라 미리. 무릎 꿇고 고개 숙여 파상해라 피리. 거짓말에 말려버린 왜곡된 사실이. 고삐 풀린 말이 되면 너는 내게 시신. 어떡해요 다 걸려버렸네요. 요즘이 어떤 시대인데 그런 짓을 해요. 망나니처럼 막 나갈 때 언제 꼭 글쎄요. 이제와 후회해봐도 달라질 건 없네요. Bury so deep in your excrete. 누굴 탓해 다 네가 한 짓. I've been mute I've been discreet. 알만한 사람 다 알아 나 in these streets. 시끌벅적 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 동네 시끄럽네요. 시끌벅적 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 화난 사람 많네요. Come hit you and run. They coming for your ransom. 나 어째 call you lawyer. 못 막아 can't do nothing for ya. I said come hit you and run. They coming for your ransom. 나 어째 call you lawyer. 못 막아 can't do nothing for ya. Dead to me, RIP buried. 무리들이 몰려온다 사자해라 미리. dead to me. R.I.P. buried. 무릎 꿇고 고개 숙여 반성해라 PD.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And make sure to watch part 2 for the Derpy Tiger and Annoyed Magpie. I'll see you there.